Nuclear energy offers many benefits in meeting the country's needs. First, it is the largest source of clean energy by reducing air pollution. The current consumption of nuclear energy already reduces over 555 million metric tons of emissions every year. In addition, it provides freedom from the over-reliance of foreign energy sources such as coal, oil, and gas. But although nuclear energy production does not create any emissions, it does produce radioactive waste. What makes waste disposal so difficult to manage is the high risk it poses to humans and the environment, not to mention that the decay time can take up to thousands of years. Radioactive waste isn't like green goo perceived in movies, but rather a gray solid. And because there's no way to destroy nuclear waste, most nuclear waste is disposed in either nuclear fuel pools or buried underground. While scientists and engineers are searching for more ways to dispose nuclear waste, there's no easy fix for our nuclear past. For example, there have been nuclear incidents in the past where nuclear waste has leaked and still presents a continuing risk to humans and the environment today. One of the main risks it can have is that it can cause genetic mutations in our body, creating cells to divide rapidly and lead to diseases such as cancer, or create genetic problems for many generations of animals and plants. Because of this, today we will present how the failure mechanisms of nuclear storage poses a serious threat in the environment, in addition to present things people today are doing to better manage it. First, we will look at the Hanford nuclear site. In the 1940s, the Hanford site produced plutonium for the Manhattan Project and developed bombs that were dropped on Nagasaki, Japan. Today, Hanford holds 56 million gallons of radioactive waste, which leaks into the soil and groundwater because many of the underground tanks were never replaced. And while they are leaking, they are also emitting vapors and radioactive chemicals that are known to cause cancer as well as lung damage. And to make matters worse, more and more workers are being put at risk. There have been reports of workers complaining about strange smells in the facility, while later on they discovered they had irreversible lung damage. Today, scientists and engineers are trying to contain the waste disposal through the process of vitrification, which involves converting radioactive waste into glass. The next instance we can look at is the Marshall Islands. During the 1950s, the U.S. government went there and performed bomb tests while exposing thousands to radiation. After the U.S. government dumped these wastes, they put them in a swimming pool-sized concrete dome. Now the dome is at risk of collapsing from the rising tides, and the U.S. government has refused to help them despite causing this crisis. Even in some reports, researchers have found high doses levels of radiation in giant clams, which support how the contamination is spreading from the dump site and into the ocean and food chain. Despite these misfortunate events, the bigger question is what can we do to better manage the waste disposal? In order to make the waste disposal work, the waste needs to be put in a place where it won't be disturbed indefinitely. And the most important thing is to inform future generations not to disturb it. And this is exactly what Finland is doing now. With their project, they are digging 1,400 feet tunnels underground in which radioactive canisters are to be buried. Then they would be packed with clay and eventually abandoned. Officials believe that between the 2-inch thick copper, clay, and surrounding granite, there should be no risk of contamination for future generations. Another strategy is to send the radioactive waste into space. Since radioactive Since radioactive substance can be destroyed at 1500 degrees Fahrenheit, the sun should take care of that. But if one of the rockets going to the sun fails to leave the Earth's atmosphere and happens to explode with radioactive contents in it, that would be catastrophic. Hopefully we can learn from the lessons from the past and be able to develop more and efficient ways to dispose of nuclear waste. And by looking for ways to dispose of nuclear waste, we can help protect us, animals, and overall the environment. It will help make the Earth be more cleaner and a more greener planet.